Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, chaos in the House of Representatives, and Congressman Michael Cloud releases his statement.
Plus, a Houston woman lucky to be alive after a metal rod hit her car's windshield on the highway.
And after almost 2 years on the job, the Shiner police chief resigns.
We had additional shower activity around the area today. Got some in Victoria. The heavier stuff is up here, but it is decreasing now. Now tomorrow, it's going to get a little heavier as the frontal system finally gets into our area. We'll be talking about that coming up.
And we take a look at one of the oldest rivalries in the state, which is going to be our game of the week. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Jackson County authorities say they have had reports of 2 small tornadoes in that county this afternoon. There's a picture of one of them, but they did not form fully to the ground. There are no reports of damages at this time. Authorities say there could be some sporadic locations of bad weather associated with this front as it blows through Jackson County.
This is an alert day, so let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis.
Well, thank you very much. There's the classic reason for it being an alert day. You saw the heavier thunder showers to the northwest. It seems like Edna gets all the big stuff. We did get rain in downtown Victoria, and now we're looking for the activity to sort of decrease for the rest of the evening. However, tomorrow the big stuff starts arriving because the frontal system is out in far west Texas with severe weather. That is going to be moving into the hill country by tonight, and then tomorrow it all starts pushing down into our area. The weather will be changing. In fact, you might even like the weekend forecast. We'll have all that coming up in just a moment, so stay tuned.
Healdsville Fire Department on the scene of a major vehicle wreck. This involves an 18-wheeler and another vehicle. Reports indicate the 18-wheeler is on fire. Authorities are asking the public to be cautious when driving near the area and be aware of responding units. As of last check, multiple agencies are on the scene, including DPS and TxDOT.
Tuesday night, the Shiner Fire Department, along with several other emergency crews, responded to the scene of an explosion and fire that occurred just east of Shiner on Highway 90A, just outside the town limits. There are reports it was an oil field pipeline fire. Authorities tell us the Texas Railroad Commission was at the site investigating the fire this morning. Only minor injuries reported.
Shiner Police Chief Kevin Kelso resigned this week after close to 2 years on the job. The Shiner Gazette reports the Shiner City Council named former Lavaca County Precinct 3 Justice of the Peace Wayne Deason as interim police chief. Kelso, an interim police chief in Beeville at one time, was the Seguin police chief for a decade. Before that, Kelso spent 22 years with the Victoria Police Department.
We turn now
to the history made yesterday at the House.
The Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, ousted from his leadership role, with members of his own party leading the charge to remove him.
A shocking moment in American history. For the first time ever, members of the House voting to remove their Speaker.
The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Speaker Kevin McCarthy seen walking out in silence after serving for only 9 months, one of only 5 House speakers to serve less than 2 years. Later announcing he won't run again to be the leader of House Republicans.
I don't regret standing up for choosing governance over grievance. I do not regret negotiating. Our government is designed to find compromise.
Citing a lack of trust in McCarthy, 8 Republicans led by far-right Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, along with all House Democrats, voted to oust him. Gaetz and the 7 others were furious after he worked out a short-term spending deal with Democrats to keep the government funded.
If this House of Representatives has exceeded all expectations, then we definitely need higher expectations.
But the overwhelming number of Republicans who backed McCarthy through it all, livid.
It's a total distraction. It is some sort of pseudo-psycho-political fetish that we don't have time for.
Now the big question, who will take his place?
More than anything, we need to change the poisonous atmosphere in Washington. You know, we have strong disagreements, but we need to stop seeing each other as enemies.
The conference scrambling to find a permanent speaker. In the meantime, Representative Patrick McHenry serving temporarily. Sources telling ABC News at least 3 names could be under consideration. Majority Leader Steve Scalise, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, and Oklahoma Congressman Kevin Hern. Republicans plan to huddle behind closed doors next Tuesday. Meanwhile, another potential government shutdown looming in just more than a month. In Washington, Liz Landers, ABC News.
As you just saw, tensions are high on Capitol Hill after the ousting of Speaker Kevin McCarthy from his speakership position. Senate Republicans say they are concerned about the chaos in the House and closely watching what develops next.
Unfortunately, it means we can't do other things which I would like to be doing, which is, for example, doing a conference on the National Defense Authorization Act, dealing with some of the border security concerns that my state is suffering from in particular, and trying to figure out how we're going to continue to support Ukraine and our allies in Europe against Russian aggression. So I think it makes that harder.
U.S. Congressman District 27 Michael Cloud voted against McCarthy's removal as Speaker. On Facebook Wednesday, Congressman Cloud said, quote, "It's not about personalities or popularity contests. It's about breaking the swamp. That is our mission. We have made progress, but there is so much more to do," unquote.
The next special session in the Texas legislature starts next Monday. It's expected to include legislation on using taxpayer money to pay for private school tuition. The Texas Tribune reports Governor Greg Abbott has said he'd call lawmakers back to address a voucher plan, or what's referred to as education savings accounts. The measure, which some supporters have dubbed school choice, failed to pass during the Texas legislature's regular session that ended in May. State Senator District 18 Lois Kolkhorst sent to us this statement on the special session, quote, "There are $5 billion appropriated for a school finance bill. I'm looking forward to working with House and Senate colleagues to pass legislation so hardworking teachers can receive a pay raise and additional funding can be provided to schools that will support educating the children of Texas." A Texas woman got a big scare recently when a 9-inch piece of rebar came flying through her windshield as she was driving down the highway.
Yeah, she was able to capture the aftermath of the near-death experience all on her cell phone video.
This is what came through my window.
Amanda Killian did not mince words Saturday. She was on her way to the airport to pick up her mom 75 miles an hour down the Beltway when it happened.
I saw it coming, and then explosion. It absolutely shook me to my core.
She thought she'd been shot at.
I was hysterical because it sprayed glass everywhere, all over my face. My whole entire car was covered in glass.
Amanda decided not to pull over on the busy highway.
And I was, shaking the whole way home.
It wasn't until she got back that she found what had actually come flying into her car.
This is what did that. Look, it hit here and then went this way, came right in there.
The heavy metal rod came out of nowhere.
And it went through like butter, hit the seat, and then bounced off and hit me in the leg.
Her dog,
this is Bo,
usually rides shotgun.
He sits, like a human right in that front seat.
But not that day. Call it luck or divine intervention, but Amanda knows how lucky they all were. Grateful that drive to the airport did not turn deadly.
I really lived through Final Destination, because if this would have came through the driver's side, it would have probably impaled me and I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Wow, and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us, coming up on 25 News Now at 6. The shooting death of a pregnant Ohio woman by police ruled as a homicide.
Also ahead, a gag order now in place on day 2 of Donald Trump's civil fraud trial in New York. We now know the cause of death of the pregnant woman who died in the hands of police back in August. The coroner's office says Takia Young died of a gunshot wound to the heart, ruling her death to be a homicide. Young was accused of shoplifting at an Ohio grocery store. Body cam video released by the police department shows an officer firing through the windshield of her car. The 21-year-old later died at a local hospital, and the fetus did not survive. Young's family is demanding a swift indictment of the officer.
Now to the civil fraud case of former President Donald Trump. Trump once again appearing in a New York City courtroom to listen in as witnesses take the stand in his trial.
The New York Attorney General's office continuing to lay out their case, accusing Trump and his eldest sons of lying about the net worth of their assets.
Former President Donald Trump choosing to be in court for the third day in a row in the $250 million civil fraud case against him, speaking to reporters over and over, repeating a similar narrative.
They've weaponized justice in our country. This trial is a disgrace.
Trump not only vocalizing his dismay inside the courthouse, but also on his social media platform, slamming court staff and New York Attorney General Letitia James, who brought the charges.
This case was brought simply because it was a case where individuals have engaged in a pattern and practice of fraud.
The judge overseeing the case issuing a limited gag order Tuesday after Trump posted online targeting a law clerk. The judge has already agreed the Attorney General proved her case that Trump and his eldest sons committed fraud by wildly inflating the net worth of their assets by as much as $2.2 billion. The trial will determine how much the Trump Organization will have to pay in damages and penalties. Still, Trump doubling down on his claims of innocence.
This is just a continuation of the witch hunt that started the day I came down the escalator in Trump Tower.
Trump could lose control of some of his properties in New York and be banned from doing business in the state. Trump's defense team questioning witness Donald Bender, an accountant for Mazars who prepared financial statements on Trump's properties. He testified that Trump's company withheld key financial information as he prepared the statements. Trump and his co-defendants have appealed the judge's ruling that they did in fact commit fraud. They're asking the appeals court to consider whether the judge committed errors of law or fact. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
President Biden has canceled another $9 billion in student loan debt. This comes just days after payments resumed following a 3-year pause. The White House says it is conducting what they call fixes to what it calls a, quote, broken student loan system, unquote. After an audit, it was able to use existing debt relief programs to help 125,000 borrowers, totaling $9 billion. Since Biden was in office, the White House has canceled $127 billion of debt for nearly 3.6 million borrowers. And here's your viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's our question. Is your student loan payment higher or lower than the average? Less than $300? More than $300? I don't have student loans, or you paid them back already. And the top voter tonight, let's see, vote getter, 68%. I don't have student loans.
Well, congratulations.
Good for you. Good for you. Hey, thanks for voting. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we'll have an update on 25 News Now at 10.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. We had some shower activity in the area earlier this afternoon. Get a load of this. It finally settled down. This is the tropical stuff coming in off the Gulf of Mexico. The big stuff is up the road in West Texas, and that's what's going to be affecting us tomorrow. Yes, the cold front is on its way. We'll be talking about it in a minute. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's 90 degrees now. I mean, it was really nice in the middle of the day when we got the little shower activity that sort of drifted through. I mean, it lasted about 15 minutes. Our high today did get up to 93, and of course, it was quite humid. We're in a different environment from where the cold front is. We're going to be talking about it because our activity sort of was driven by heat and all that Gulf moisture coming up. You saw a little bit of volatility in the atmosphere with the heavier stuff to the northwest. I don't know why Edna keeps getting all the heavy rain. Jackson County is always getting in the heavy rain. And there you see Edna right now. I think it's still there and they're okay. All right, so tomorrow it gets even more complicated because what we're tracking is coming with a strong frontal system right about here. This is where all the activity is located right now. Severe weather forecast for much of North Texas, severe weather for much of West Texas. Tomorrow it'll be getting into the hill country and then along the I-35 corridor, Austin to San Antonio. Then it gets into our area in the late afternoon and evening hours. Now here's the rainfall totals, and you can see right about here anything in green is up to an inch, up to 2 inches in dark blue, up to 3 inches in purple. It's over 3 inches. So somebody got some heavier rain as they rolled up toward El Campo, so I guess the Wharton area. Also heavier rain in Bay City and Edna, once again, I don't know, Jackson County got the heaviest rainfall of this afternoon. Something's going on in Edna, let me tell you. So that's where everything occurred with the tropical nature, the Gulf moisture. Now the big stuff. The big stuff, of course, is dropping much heavier activity, and of course that's severe weather. I mean, it can rain on you, but it's when we get the lightning and the hail and the possible tornadoes that we have more problems, and that's what they're having up in North Texas. Here's our front this evening. It'll be rolling down, bringing the heavier storms into the Dallas area, into the hill country tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow afternoon, it crosses over the I-35 corridor by 7 in the morning. And then by late in the afternoon, the frontal system should pass through here. It will shift our winds, but it won't, turn immediately cold behind it. It'll only get into the 80s, but it'll still be on the cloudy and damp side by late in the evening. Now, here's a little bit of better news that I have for you. For Friday, the rain that we get will be after the front. So it'll be more light rain, scattered cloud cover, cooler, cloudier weather. So whatever we get is not going to be severe is what I'm saying. So Friday night, I don't expect thunder and lightning. I expect stratiform rain, which will be a little bit more even and steady. You might get damp, but it's not a huge downpour like we've seen before. Looking for an 86 tomorrow for us here. And here's again on the national picture how strong the front is. It's all the way into the Midwest. It's dropping all the way down to El Paso. That will trigger the heavier activity tomorrow morning, severe out west, then getting less volatile as it gets into our region, and then by Friday it blows through. Saturday we'll pick up a drier north wind that'll give us a break for a day or so, but the problem is the frontal systems are going to stall somewhere down here off the Gulf Coast. As a result, the cloud deck will be with us probably a day or two later, and I'll show you on the 7-day forecast. So let's take a look at that. For tomorrow in the Port Lavaca area, 81 the low, 82 the high. That sounds pretty good. Showers increasing during the day, right about there. In Cuero, we start off at 78 in the morning, only get up to 84. Showers and clouds increasing during the day. It's going to be wet. Now, once the front goes through, we've got rain, not volatile thunderstorms, and then it does clear up a little bit for Saturday and Sunday, but then by Monday, the cloud deck rolls back in. We'll still be on the mild side of things, but we'll continue with cloud cover and additional shower activity. But it's going to feel more like, October, September, something like that. So all of a sudden, we can say goodbye to that summer of 23. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, and we can let you know everything that's happening, news, weather, and sports. Here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Sports Director Gina Perez.
Thanks, Karina. 8 local volleyball teams hit the hardwood last night. We have scores after the break. At a Crossroads, the game of the week is a historic rivalry between two Wharton County programs, the Bay City Black Cats and the El Campo Ricebirds. These teams are meeting for the 120th time and are one of the oldest rivalries in the state, and there is plenty of animosity to go around. The schools are separated by 32 miles and have been playing each other since 1911. That's 112 years. This will be the 104th consecutive matchup between the two teams, which is the oldest continuous rivalry in the state. Hopefully the weather will keep that streak alive. The two battle it out at Memorial Stadium in Bay City. The newly built stadium will hope to hold the two fan bases with a total capacity of 8,500 people. The Ricebirds will have won the they've won the past 4 seasons, and they will have some bad blood between that game. Well, if you missed it last night, here are last night's volleyball scores. The St. Joseph Lady Flyers swept the Brownsville St. Joseph 25-23, 25-13, and 25-17. Addison Ozuna had a big night and was named co-player of the game with 16 spikes, 3 blocks, and 4 digs. Morgan Kornick had 21 assists on the night, and Bridget Bluda had 6 blocks. The Lady Flyers are back at it tomorrow as they take on St. Anthony in San Antonio. The Industrial Lady Cobras took on the Yoakum Lady Bulldogs, and the blue and white would get their second consecutive win, sweeping the Lady Cobras. Industrial performed well, coming close in set 3, just not enough for the win. Yoakum's Olivia Foyt had 24 digs. Gianna Phillips, Samantha Adamek, and Destiny Rios each had 10 kills in the victory. Down the road in Edna, the Cowgirls took on Hallettsville and won in 3 sets as well. Shanti Guerra had 14 kills. Bella Plotini had 32 assists, and Juliana Koch, Marley Holmes, and Carson Damborski each stuffed the stat sheet as well, getting the district victory. The Goliad Tigerettes came into last night's game as the #1 ranked team in the state, and they left that way too. Goliad defeats Odom in 3 sets, and the Tigerettes will play Matt this Friday for yet another district matchup. The Victoria West Lady Warriors improved to 3-1 in district after their victory. The Lady Warriors dominated 25-11, 25-9, and 25-4. West's Emily Parker had 11 kills on the night and 2.5 blocks. West will host CC Ray Texans October 6th at 5 o'clock. Lastly, the Victoria East Titans got the sweep against CC Ray. East fell 25-17, 25-23, and 25-20. The Lady Titans are now 1-3 on the season. Multiple athletes had 4 kills, but Lily Rather led the team with 8 kills. East will host Gregory Portland Friday at 5 at East High School. The Texas Rangers made quick work of the Tampa Bay Rays today. On the mound, Nathan Eovaldi had pitched 6 innings and gave up 1 run, but had 8 strikeouts. The Rangers' bats were hot, including Adolis Garcia, who went yard for the first run of the game. The Rangers went on to win 7-1. Texas will now prepare for the #1 seeded Baltimore Orioles, while the Astros sit and wait to see which team will they play between the Blue Jays, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Minnesota Twins. Currently, that game is in the 9th inning with the Twins winning 2-1. Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
And the Astros will wait on which ex-Astro they will face, either George Springer with the Jays or Carlos Correa with the Twins.
Yep.
All right, I guess we'll just have to see.
There you go.
Right. Well, we're going to be back in a moment. While October is just starting here, Oktoberfest has ended in Germany.
Tonight, the 188th Oktoberfest celebrated its final day on Tuesday in Germany after pulling in 7.2 million guests over 18 days. Guests drank 6.5 million liters of beer.
No.
The 2.5-week-long party dates back to a horse race that took place in 1810. It now attracts at least 6 million visitors every year, and some of them actually remember they were there. Hey, I just talked to one of my friends in Edna. They had a lot of rain this afternoon, probably got about 3 inches or more. And Edna getting the weather again.
It's always
Edna today.
It's always Edna. Why is Edna everything happened in Edna?
I don't know.
The last 3 nights that we've had big weather, it was in Edna. Well, I don't know. Tomorrow, I think we're going to be getting some substantial rainfall too. It'll start getting very interesting tomorrow morning and then get stronger by the afternoon. I do believe your Thursday is an alert day. Everybody's going to be affected by the rain until it gets a little cooler this weekend.
Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us.
See you tonight at 10.